Again, good evening, everyone, those here in the hall and those watching via the webcast. It's our May Council Borough meeting, and we are always accompanied here by the members of Council, Catherine Clément-Talbot, Louise Leroux, Benoît Langevin, and Shahid Tarakjan, and the members of our administration that are here to assist. Should we not have an answer for you, they can help us. And again, the answers aren't always available sometimes at these meetings. This is a question-answer period, but if we don't have the answer, it would be our pleasure to send that off to you or call you with the appropriate answer when we have it. So this evening, before we get into our regular proceedings with the SPVM and our commander's report, and before the citizen question period, we have something that we are doing this evening, and we have members of the community here, so we'd like to do that. And if those that want to stay behind for the rest of the council meeting, they're welcome to do so, and then if they'd like to leave, they can leave at that point. Je suis très, très content aussi d'avoir avec nous Samir Zouberi, qui est notre membre du Parlement, nouvellement élu dans notre secteur de Pierrefonds-Roxborough. Bienvenue, M. Zouberi. Et aussi Mme Garceau, qui est avec nous, notre member of the National Assembly, who is also with us. And of course, it would go without mention to say that we also have Marvin Rotrand here. Not only is he a godfather in the municipal world, as I've known him, as we've sat at City Council together for a number of years, he's also the Director General of the United Against Hate Canada organization, and I'm very, very honored to have him here at our council meeting. And it's really his doing that we are here this evening to start our deliberations like this. I know Benoît Langevin worked hard on this as well with Marvin to make sure that we honored in the right way our Filipino community. As we know, June is Filipino month, and we want to make sure that we do this properly. There are countless community groups. I come from a community group as well. And when it's time to honor the groups, we try to do that with class. And aside from passing a declaration and a resolution here at Council, we also want to make sure that we recognize not only their commitment to the different communities and being involved in every sphere of society, as we know the Filipino community has done for many generations. We also want to make sure that we recognize them here in these chambers. I mentioned it outside without the administration hearing me, but they're going to hear me tonight because in June we'll make sure that we fly the Filipino flag on our 4th flagpole to make sure that we recognize the Filipino Community Month. But aside from that, and I mentioned it outside to the group, and in that way we'll be able to also invite the general population to see the richness of the community. And I know I have many community leaders here as well this evening. I may not name you all. We have Al Abdon, who's the chair for Filipino Heritage Society of Montreal. We have my old and good friend Ramon Vincente, who is now the president of the Filipino Family Services. And as a side note, we did a lot together the decades that I was in Dollard. I remember Ramon very well. He's also a very accomplished musician as well, from what I understand, so I'm anxious to hear that. We have Luzminda Masone, president of the Federation of Filipino-Canadian Associations of Montreal. Ginette Perignon, president of the Carrioupe Associations of Quebec. We have Karine Tabunar, Philippine Foundation of Montreal, the Seniors in Motion. And I have, of course, our good and old friend Marvin. I may have missed some folks in the crowd, and I apologize for that. That's the list I have with me tonight. So we won't pass it now, but I'm going to read it because it's very important that we make sure we mention what this declaration and motion is all about. We'll do that during the regular order of business when we pass it with a regular reading of our council meeting. Whereas the Borough of Pierrefonds-Roxboro has a substantial and growing population of persons of Filipino origin on its territory, whereas the Filipino population of Quebec now surpasses 46,000 persons, the majority of whom live in the agglomeration of Montreal. And I believe we're close to 40,000, if I'm not mistaken, in Montreal. Is that what it is? And I think we're the 6th, if I'm not mistaken, largest population in Canada for the Filipino community. Whereas in 2018, the Government of Canada adopted Motion M155, recognizing the contributions of Filipino Canadians have made to Canadian society, the richness of the Filipino language and culture, and the importance of reflecting upon the Filipino heritage for future generations by declaring June every year Filipino Heritage Month and inviting local jurisdictions to adopt similar resolutions. Whereas requests have been received from the Filipino Heritage Society, Filipino Family Services of Montreal, Federation of Filipino Canadian Associations of Quebec, United Against Hate Canada, and persons of Filipino heritage residing in the borough to recognize every June as Filipino Heritage Month in Pierrefonds-Roxboro. So once we get to the reading of our regular council meeting, we will be resolving that the Borough Council formally declare every month of June to be Filipino Heritage Month in Pierrefonds-Roxboro, and that the Borough Council recognize the contributions that residents of Filipino Canadians have made to the borough's growth and well-being. So that's how we will read it. That's how it will stand. Once it's adopted and it's stamped, we will make sure we send that to all the community leaders. We'll send it to the members of Parliament and the member of our National Assembly to make sure that this snowballs. I thank Marvin Rotrand once again, who not only in this file, but has been a real cheerleader for a lot of different communities throughout Montreal in the decades that he's been involved. And I congratulate him, because oftentimes when politicians leave these types of situations, they somehow disappear into the background. Marvin Rotrand has been one that has never sat in the background and has used his experience and his connections to be able to bring things a little further. And he's done this again tonight. So Marvin, I mean this sincerely, somebody who sat with you at Municipal Council for all those years. You've always been someone that I think all politicians should aspire to be. And I recognize that. And it's thanks to you, Benoit, as well this evening, that we're all here and congregated to make sure that we recognize this. And again, the flag will go up June. We'll make sure that we will announce it to the community leaders, so that when we do it, we'll have a somber official ceremony in front of City Hall, and we'll make sure that you all understand the importance of having you here. So on that, I thank you sincerely for being here. Merci, merci à vous tous d'être ici. Comme j'ai dit, vous pouvez rester ou vous pouvez partir comme vous voulez. Maintenant, je pense we had a few words from Al, I think, that wanted to address the crowd. Is that right? Go ahead, sir. Right on the mic right there, Al, and we'll make sure we'll turn that on for you.
First of all, I'd like to thank Samuel Subiri and Bridget Garsu, our loyal supporter of the Filipino Heritage Month, and of course, Marvin Rotrand. He calls me a partner of crime, or partner in crimes, or something like that. Mayor Bay, the council of councilors of the borough or the city of Pierrefonds and Roxboro. Okay, and of course our community leaders and friends, Filipino, mga kababayan. My name is Al Abdon, and I'm the chairman of the Filipino Heritage Society of Montreal. I am not a resident of Roxboro or Pierrefonds, but many of our members are. We have partnered with United Against Hate Canada on a project to promote Filipino Heritage Month and to encourage twinning of cities in Canada and those of the Philippines. We are being supported by major Filipino organizations from across Montreal and the presidents of the several Filipino organizations and are here tonight to witness this event. I want to express our gratitude to the Council for this motions on tonight's agenda to proclaim June as a Filipino Heritage Month of Pierrefonds and Roxboro, and it's the first wish that it's a long-time wish that I have wanted ever since we had this community, the Filipino community, that a Filipino flag is being raised in one of those municipalities. And I guess this is the first municipality have the intention of raising the Filipino flag in your city. Congratulations as councilor and the mayor of Pierrefonds and Roxboro. Thank you very much.
You know, I'm even going to go a little further, Al, because we also, puis Monsieur Jacob m'écoute, je sais, il m'écoute, puis Monsieur Baudouin aussi. So we have capabilities outside our city hall. I know Monsieur Baudouin and l'équipe worked very hard on that file, following our request to illuminate the building in different colors. So again, I can't promise, but we'll see if it's possible to illuminate the building at least a couple of nights in the Filipino colors. How's that? This, and Marvin knows, this in politics is called a curveball to the administrations. So look, we got to try to keep it light. But on a serious note, our condolences and our sympathies go out to the entire Filipino community for the tragedy that happened out west. One of my questions will be to the commander, if those of you that don't stay, in the event that we have these types of potential situations in our community, what will the SPVM do to step up their resources to be able to combat some of this hate and inexplicable horrors that happen throughout the world. So on that, folks, I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your presence, not only today, but every day if you were to come back. And again, we'll reach out to you when we have our flag-raising ceremony. We'll make sure we do that with style, okay? Thank you very much, everyone. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Avant qu'on termine avec le conseil, on avait le 1501. C'était la déclaration motion qu'on n'a pas eu des appuyeurs et proposeurs, que le conseil d'arrondissement déclare officiellement le mois de juin, c'est le 1501, le mois de l'héritage philippin à Pierrefonds-Roxboro, et que le conseil d'arrondissement reconnaisse la contribution des résidents philippino-canadiens à la croissance et au bien-être de l'arrondissement. Ça me prend un proposeur. Appuyeur.
J'appuie.
Monsieur Langevin et Madame Talbot, merci. Et ça nous amène à la fin 70-01, que la présente séance ordinaire soit levée.
Je propose.
Mesdames et messieurs, merci beaucoup ceux et celles qui restent dans la salle et les gens qui nous regardent au mois prochain. Merci beaucoup. Bonsoir.